Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Live at the Waterhole. My name's Chad Hobson, and I'm going to be your naturalist for the afternoon or the morning, as well as the afternoon. I hope everybody is having a fantastic Sunday morning so far, and hopefully it's only going to get better with the Live at the Waterhole show that we've got coming up. Just a reminder to everybody that this is a live and interactive show, so please do send through your questions and comments. You can send them through on our website, or you can even join the conversation on X using the hashtag WildEarth. And I'll be happy to interact with you and answer any questions that you might have for me. So we're starting off here at Juma Private Game Reserve in the northern parts of the Sabi Sands, where we've got a herd of impalas as well as one lonely wildebeest on the left-hand side of screen. Here's some Franklins calling in the background. It does also look like there's some waterbuck in the background, down at the bottom, just left of the water. I know there was quite a baby waterbuck the other day, so you never know. Maybe that waterbuck is still around. I'm Kim333. You're saying early morning, Chad. 3:30 a.m. in Chicago. Good morning to you. I'm glad you joined us, even though it's very, very early in the morning in Chicago. I do hope you're going to enjoy the show today. Dark Man Lover, you're also saying good morning, Chad. Good morning to you. Hope you are enjoying your Sunday morning. And what better way to kick it off than with Live at the Waterhole? So that noise that you heard there, that's some people might be thinking, oh, it may be the hippos in the background, but that's actually the impalas. And, I mean, that's actually the females calling the youngsters. So often they make it almost like a grunt noise to try and call the youngsters, because they would have given birth late November, early December. Also, the males trying to bring the females all together. They would have given birth to those youngsters, so they might be trying to call the youngsters. Maybe they've lost them somewhere within the herd. Also, it is a little bit early now, but in probably April or so, that's when they come into what we call rutting season. So rutting is when the males will fight for females. So these impalas, they have a harem, so one male to many different females. And in April is when the females will come into estrus, so when they'll be ready to mate. And that's often when there's a lot of chasing of male impalas around, lots of fighting going on. It's quite a incredible time to be out in the bush and watch and witness all that's happening. Nella, you're asking why is it common to find a lone wildebeest with a herd of impala? Do other species do this? So there we can hear the hippo in the background. Nella, to answer your question, so most of the time it's a thing about safety and numbers. So the more eyes, the more ears, the better. So it's not actually it's common to find two different species together in the same area. So you'll often find it with impalas and wildebeest together, but also you'll see often zebra and wildebeest together. There's even a kudu, male kudu that's feeding there. So yeah, it does happen quite often, and it just also it feels a lot safer being in and around a lot more animals. You can imagine being alone out here in the African bush with lions, leopards, hyenas, wild dogs running around. You want the best possible opportunity to spot a predator before it comes. And also, I was speaking a little bit earlier saying that you'll find wildebeest and zebras together. Often, wildebeest and zebras they're seen together because they're feeding on the same types of grasses. The zebras are feeding on the inflorescence, so the top parts of the grass, where the wildebeest are feeding right at the bottom, almost taking the roots of the grass out as they do feed. Watching from Scotland, and you would like to ask if I ever get tired of doing this job. It looks like heaven. I don't get tired of doing this. It's my passion. I really, really love the African bush. I'm also a little social bunny, so I enjoy socializing with people and really enjoy meeting people from all walks of life, all different areas of the globe, and getting to know them and sharing my knowledge with them. So yeah, I don't get tired. Sometimes I do get tired of getting up early and going to bed late, but that comes with the job. I've just gotten used to it over the years. But no, I really do enjoy my job, and live at the Waterhole is incredible, and it's great to interact with everybody. But there is nothing better than being in the driver's seat, having your guest sitting behind you, tracker sitting in the front of the vehicle, and heading out in the early morning, going to look for whatever your guests might have asked you to see, or you might have heard maybe from the deck having morning coffee, maybe lions roaring or fighting or something like that. So it's an incredible job, to be honest with you, and I'm very, very lucky to be able to do it.
We are bringing you a new and improved fan favorite. We have unearthed the finest gems from over the years in our archives to give you hours of amazing entertainment. Hop on the largest safari vehicle in the world and revisit the best of WildEarth with epic moments from eco-training pride lands, memories from Madikwe, and more. Reconnect with your favorite naturalists and animal characters with the best of Safari Live. WildEarth, connecting with nature.
Impalas are also one of the cleanest of the antelope species around. They do what we call allo grooming. Have a look at this kudu horning that tree there. I'll get back to the impalas now. So that was quite interesting to see. So often kudus will do something like that when it's like a territorial marking that they'll do. They'll often horn trees and things like that. You'll even see it. Buffaloes will do pretty much the same thing. But I also wonder here if this kudu maybe was doing that to try and get that branch a little bit further down so it's easier for it to graze on. Can hear one of the impala's alarm calling. It was just one or two. Maybe they just smelled something and just alarm called in case to get everybody's attention. So I was just saying here about this kudu, and maybe it was trying to horn the tree to try and get that branch a little bit further down to make it a little bit easier in order to feed. Starbuck, you wondering, you're saying, hi Chad, why do impala males have horns but springbok sexes both have horns? To be honest with you, Starbuck, that's a tough question to answer. I mean, a lot of, like, there's some antelope species that both have horns and some that don't. So, like, for instance, a wildebeest. Wildebeest male, females, both have horns. Springboks, both have horns. Impalas, males have horns, females don't. Kudus, males have horns, females don't. So I'm not 100% sure exactly why the impalas don't have horns. I mean, because the females, they don't have to fight. Females, impalas don't fight, neither do female springboks, but they do have horns. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you, Starbuck. I think it's also, it's just different antelopes, different looks, things like that. So before we did zoom into that kudu, I was speaking about the impalas, and impalas are probably one of the most clean antelopes out here in the African bush because they do what we call allo grooming. So allo grooming is a very social thing that impalas do, and it's I clean you while you clean me. So you'll often see it where the one will clean another one, and then they'll vice versa. They'll clean each other. Also, if you look at the back of the impala, they've got that those black markings at the back. So that's also a follow me sign for the animals out here in the bush. Like a kudu underneath the tail's a white color, so when it runs, that white then stands out. But also that black is the probably the warmest part of the impala. You can imagine when that sun shines down, um, that black fur gets very, very warm. And so often the ticks will go to that warmest spot to try and feed. And often when you see impalas grooming one another, that's exactly where they're grooming. Right at the back there along those black markings. So it also does seem like these impalas are sort of standing in the shade there of that tree. Some of them are feeding, some of them are just resting, but it does seem like the wind is picking up a little bit here at Juma. If you look at all the grass, you can see how the grass is flowing or blowing around. Oh, have a look at that. That youngster suckling from mom. Quite incredible to see that youngster suckling. Maybe that baby's unsure of that oxpecker on its head. Now, speaking a little bit earlier about the wind, and often the wind, I mean, if it's very windy, often the animals do tend to be a little bit more nervous. So, I mean, as the wind picks up, you'll see the impalas, they start to look around more, start to check around to try and spot any potential predators, because it is quite a good time for predators to hunt. With the wind blowing, the impalas might smell that there's a predator around, but they don't actually know exactly where that predator is coming from. So you often find in windy or rainy conditions, you might get lion prides moving around or leopards looking to hunt. You will find that the oxpeckers will go into the ears of the impalas to get all those ticks and things like that. It just depends on the impala. Sometimes the impalas are very tolerant of the red-billed oxpeckers, where they allow them to go into the ear. But sometimes they're not very tolerant. The impala or the oxpecker will try go into the ear, and the impala will shake it off. But sometimes, like you'll even see them scratching up against a branch or something like that to try and maybe get rid of that tick that's maybe in their ear or something like that. That kudu's got beautiful big horns. Very, very impressive antelope, kudu. The oxpecker is now calling. Often they do that when they're either in flight or when they're just taking off. You'll often hear the oxpeckers calling like that. King, you're wondering, can oxpeckers pass on illnesses between different animals? No. So oxpeckers don't pass on any diseases from animal to animal. They are very, very clean birds and things like that, and they wouldn't be able to pass on a disease from one animal to the other. Ned, you wondering, is it true that oxpeckers have more than 1,000 ticks in their stomach? So I'm unsure exactly like how many ticks oxpeckers would be able to have in their stomachs. But I do know that oxpeckers do eat hundreds of ticks in a day. So whether they eat those hundreds of ticks and keep them in their stomach for a while, I'm uncertain. But I mean, I know that they can eat well over like 1,000 ticks per day, especially if there's larvae that have hatched on an animal. Those larvae are tiny, and they can probably eat thousands of larvae even in one day. So I mean, I'm sure that is probably a correct statement. It does seem like these oxpeckers are having a field day on these impalas, so maybe there might be quite a lot of ticks at the moment here. I mean, after quite a lot of rain, that's often when the ticks will start to thrive during the summertime. So, I mean, I'm sure there are lots of ticks around for these impalas to feed on. Sorry, for these oxpeckers to feed on the impala. Almost as just greeting that oxpecker on the back of that impala. Can hear the hippo in the background, but also we joined by some waterbuck, two female waterbucks. There's actually a male there off in the background, on the right hand side. Beautiful antelopes with that white ring around their bum. And they, well, speaking about the ruminating earlier, you can see both of these female waterbucks are just ruminating, resting, enjoying that little breeze. And it doesn't look like it is too hot there at Juma today. Doesn't look like the sun is shining. Maybe it is a little bit cloudy, so they're able to just rest out in the open. So we'll just have a little scan around the water. Maybe we can see if there might be anything else interesting for us here at the Waterhole at Juma. Can hear the hippos are making noise. I know the hippo is always a fan favorite for a lot of people. They're loving the baby hippo at the water.
We all know the struggle of finding the perfect gift. But what if you could give them an unforgettable experience? Something truly extraordinary. Introducing Nature Eye. Fly a real drone remotely at iconic locations, witnessing the beauty of nature like never before. Sign up to be an explorer and you could win one of these experiences yourself. Visit natureeye.com today.
As you can see, we are just scanning the waterhole at the moment. And we're looking in all these trees around the water. Maybe we can find a big bird perched. Maybe perching, sorry, not purchased. Um, find a bird perching on a tree. Maybe even something like a vulture that might be perched. There's a starling. Juliet, you're saying that this is so peaceful for a Sunday morning. You're loving the animal noises and bird calls that you can hear. Definitely, it's a nice peaceful way to start a Sunday, and Sundays are for relaxing. So I'm glad you are enjoying it. Just sitting at home, relaxing, enjoying the sounds of the African bush. And I mean, one of the reasons we've got live at the Waterhole is just for everybody to enjoy the sights and the sounds of the African bush. So a lot of the time, even we just keep quiet and we just enjoy it. I mean, there's sometimes interesting to chat about what you're seeing, but other times, us as the naturalists, we want you viewers all at home to be just enjoying the sights and the sounds of the African bush. Can also only imagine how nice it would be to maybe have a leopard sitting in one of these trees around this water hole. Yeah, Juma. Or maybe even take one its kill. up into a tree. That would be quite something to be able to see here on live at the Waterhole. There we go. We got the hippos. Let's wait and see if we can get a good view of the baby hippo. Sometimes that baby hippo might stay under the water for a little while suckling. So we might have to be a little bit patient to see if we can see it. But also sometimes maybe that's the male that we've been looking at. It's quite tough to see, but behind the tree there's another hippo. Maybe that's where the baby is.
Good afternoon and welcome to WildEarth's Bush Hub here in the Western Kruger. My name is James Henry, Gerrit is on camera, and over the next 30 minutes we're going to look at the highlights that took place in the field over the last 24 hours. We'll have a look at yesterday afternoon's sunset safari, this morning's sunrise safari, with an eye to planning this afternoon's activities in the field. This is On Safari.
So you might see those scratches from the teeth, but also you never know. I mean, maybe it's been in a fight with lions, and maybe the lion claws got into the back and managed to survive. So it could be a number of different things that I've mentioned. There we got a brief view of that baby hippo. It also seems like this mother hippo is also just resting. You can see it's just the back that's out of the water, but the head is underneath the water. And often what happens with hippos is they'll almost just lie down on the bottom while sleeping, and then every now and then they'll lift their head up just like that, and then she might go back down again. And all they're doing is coming up for one breath and then going back down. And that's often how they will then sleep here in the water. Sometimes if there's a big pot of hippos, what happens is you'll see them all resting their heads on one another, and they'll just keep their nostrils out the water, and then they're able to sleep continuously. But it almost happens subconsciously that once they are sleeping, they'll just they'll come up, they'll breathe, and then go back down. The baby really doesn't want to show too much of itself today. I know yesterday we got lots of great views of it, but today seems like it's spending time on the other side of mom. Ned, you wondering, can a hippo survive in a cool place without water? Um, I would say no. So I don't think hippos will be able to survive in a water in an area, even if it is cool, without the water. Their skin is extremely sensitive, so they do have to have water in order to survive. They do, however, if they do come out of the water, they do secrete this red, oily substance that almost acts like sunblock um, to them. But I think even in a cool place, the sun's still going to be out. It's still going to be the UV rays are still going to be quite high. So I don't think the hippo will be able to survive, even if it is quite a cool area. Some of these impalas seem to be running off, but I think the rest of the herd might be somewhere around there. I haven't heard any alarm calls or anything like that. Does seem like it is a beautiful day in Juma, in the Sabi Sands. Seems like there's a little bit of cloud cover, but the sun does still seem to be shining. So maybe as it does heat up in the afternoon, maybe we'll get some elephants that come down towards the water. There's a beautiful marula tree that we're looking at the moment. And often a marula tree is a good spot for leopard. Leopard often like to relax in the marula trees, but also elephants often feed on the marulas. So they produce a small little fruit, almost like a golf ball size, and very, very nutritious. I mean, you can even eat it as humans. They are very, very sweet and delicious. And often elephants, you'll see them. They do what we call ring barking. So what they do is they'll use their tusk to break off the bark from the tree and try and get into the cambium layer. And that's the inner layer that transports all the nutrients from the roots up to the leaves. And that's the most nutritious part of the tree. And the elephants will then use their tusk to dig into that and then rip it off with their trunk. And it's very, very nutritious and juicy for those elephants. Jack, too, you are wondering what is the hippo's main predator? So I think for the hippo, the main predator for a hippo would most likely be lions. So, I mean, a leopard probably wouldn't be able to take down a hippo. Maybe a baby hippo they'll be able to take down. But often when they're out of the water, they can be quite vulnerable. So they can be vulnerable to lions. And lions being mostly nocturnal, lion pride's often on the move at night, can definitely take down a hippo.
We all know the struggle of finding the perfect gift. But what if you could give them an unforgettable experience? Something truly extraordinary. Introducing Nature Eye. Fly a real drone remotely at iconic locations, witnessing the beauty of nature like never before. Sign up to be an explorer and you could win one of these experiences yourself. Visit natureye.com today.
Just scanning the outskirts of the waterhole now. Maybe we could find something like a baby crocodile, or maybe a monitor lizard resting on one of these fallen over trees next to the water. It is amazing how the bush just transforms in the rainy season. I mean, 3 months ago or 2 months ago, if you had to see this area, it would have been completely different. A lot of the trees would have been very dull and brown, some of the trees even with no leaves. Whereas now, a lot of these trees have gotten nice coverage and foliage on them. And I think they're very, very happy with the rain that we've had, and I'm sure they're going to be happy when there's a lot more rain, which also makes it easier for the animals. You can hear that woodlands kingfisher calling in the background. You always know it's the summertime when you can hear that woodlands kingfisher calling. Nothing better for me than waking up in the bush and hearing that woodlands kingfisher. You just know it's going to be a good day. Lala, you asking, have I ever had an emotional day as a guide? I have had a few, to be honest with you. Like, so sometimes, I mean, you shouldn't, but guides do. Like, you get almost attached to some of the animals that you're viewing quite regularly. So, like, say, for instance, a leopard that you might view regularly, or prouder lions, or specific cheetahs that might be your favorite for some reasons. And um, one of them that stands out as soon as I heard that question was I was working on Punda Private Game Reserve, and it's very, very well known for cheetah. And we had these two male cheetahs that were just incredibly viewable cheetahs. Like they were always sitting on the most beautiful termite mounds, on the dam walls, always in golden light, moving around, hunting and things like that. And unfortunately, but also fortunately, got to witness a lioness actually attacking those two cheetahs. And yeah, that was for me quite an emotional day because we never got to see the cheetah that had attacked again, which was quite sad for me. The cheetah did run away, so it got away, but I think the injuries might have been so bad that it was unable to walk or move or hunt. And we spent a couple of days looking for that cheetah, but were unable to um, find the carcass. But then also, I mean, for instance, like leopards, when you find a leopard with carcasses, or the first one, oh, sorry, not with carcasses, with cubs, and like you're the first one to see them, it can be a very emotional day. But also, like you then spend time with that leopard and her cubs and get attached, and then the next day you see her contact calling for the cubs and no cubs. So yeah, you do have emotional days like that as a guide. I mean, I try my best not to get attached, but it's very tough not to.
Life is more colorful with a zebra by your side. Join us as we celebrate one of Africa's most distinctive mammals on World Zebra Day. Revisit our greatest sightings whilst we spot all things black and white on safari. Grace, strength, resilience. Stay tuned and connect with nature.
Bello, are you asking me what my favorite bird call is? So one of my favorites is definitely the Woodlands kingfisher. That's for sure. But my ultimate favorite is the African broadbill. Um, it's a bird that you find up in northern KwaZulu Natal, um, and it's in a special habitat called the sand forest. And it's a small little bird, and it actually uses its wings to make the noise. And it sits on a perch and then does like a 360 flight in a little circle, like quite a small little circle, as it calls. And it's a very elusive bird. A lot of birders haven't seen it, but I had the privilege of working up at Anbion Punda Forest Lodge for 3.5 years and got to see them pretty regularly. So that would definitely be my favorite one. If you are familiar with birds, you'll know it, but if you're not, even just Google African broadbill and you'll be able to then hear the call. So we are now approaching 1 o'clock, where it's time to introduce AfriCams, and just want to say thanks very much to AfriCams for getting on board with WildEarth and opening up all the different locations to us. Really do appreciate it. Waterbucks just enjoying the shade there. It does seem like the sun has now come out a little bit more than it was earlier on.